Hey everyone, it's Andrew and Dave here from FTC. There's been a lot of talks about stage 3 tax cuts. So let's run through it to see if we can have a bit of a better understanding of what's going on. So firstly, the stage 3 tax cuts were legislated by the Liberal Party to come into effect on the 1st of July 2024. So basically, there was a reduction on the overall amount of tax that individual taxpayers were going to pay. And they did this by sort of streamlining the tax system. So at the moment, there are 5 different tax brackets. And under the Liberal plan, they were going to reduce this to 4. And they were going to reduce the 37% tax bracket in between. So the point of this was to make it a bit easier to understand the tax system, to make it easier to collect tax as well, and also to give certainty to people that just because of bracket creep or inflation via their salary doesn't mean that they had to pay additional taxes to go into a different tax bracket. So, however, the times have changed. Labor has come into power and there's cost of living pressures, high interest rates, and they're going to look at tweaking this new the stage 3 tax plan. And on the 1st of July 2024, it will most likely change. So these changes are still not law yet, still going through the process, but it's looking likely that it's going to happen. So here are the 2 different proposals, or one legislated, one to be legislated tax tables. So you can see here between the 18 to 45 bracket, the marginal tax rate is going to decrease from 19% down to 16%. The 45 to 200K threshold is going to reduce to 45 to 135. That's going to be at 30%. So those tax brackets are the same. However, the amount that you can earn has decreased from 200 down to 135. Then this is the introduction of a totally new tax bracket, or keeping the old one, is the 135 to 190 at 37%. And then lastly, the highest tax bracket of 45%, the threshold to enter is going to reduce from 200K down to 190. So there'll be no change to the tax-free threshold. So every Australian tax resident still gets the 18,200 tax-free threshold on the first part of their income. However, the different tax brackets will apply depending on what their total taxable income will be. So under the new proposal, higher income earners will receive a lower tax cut than they were going to get under the old Liberal plan. And the whole point of that is to redistribute the tax burden, to basically reduce the amount of tax refund the high income earners were going to receive and redistribute that down to lower income thresholds. So on average, Middle Australia will receive an additional tax cut to those proposed by the Liberal Party of an additional $800. However, there is a bit of finer devil in the detail, where last year the low income tax offset was reduced by $1,500. So even though there's an additional tax cut of $800, this loss of $1,500 from last year is still there. So this is not getting replaced. So actually, Middle Australia is worse off by about $700 a year. So on someone who's on over 200K per year, they were supposed to get a $9,000 refund, but instead they're getting back 4.5, and then that's getting redistributed back down. So the easiest way to explain this is probably with examples. So I've highlighted here on someone who's on 75, 125, and 150K taxable income. So under the old tax laws, before the Liberals changed the stage 3 tax cuts, person on 75 would be paying about $14,800 in tax. Under the Liberal plan, they were going to be paying $14,092, a difference of about $700, $750. Under the new proposed Labor plan, it's going to be further reduced down to $13,288. So under the new Labor plan, there's going to be an additional tax cut of about $804 there. On someone who's on 125, originally before the Liberal proposal, they were going to be paying tax of $31,300. Under the current stage 3 tax cuts, they're going to be paying $29,092. And under the new Labor plan, it's going to be $28,288. So the difference is about $2,000, an additional $800 under the new Labor plan than compared to the original stage 3 tax cuts under the Liberal Party. So overall, people that are on between 75 to 125 or lower are going to be receiving more, will be paying, sorry, not receiving more, but be paying less tax out of their taxable income. So where it starts to really impact people are those on a salary of about 135 plus. So here, someone who's on 150K, originally they'll be paying about $40,500 in tax. Under the Liberal Party stage 3 tax cuts, they'd be paying 36,592. So effectively a tax cut of about $3,800. Under Labor's plan, though, they're going to be paying 36,838. So what is going to happen under Labor? They would be paying an additional amount of about $250 in tax under the new proposed laws. So for those earning more, they're going to be paying more tax, or their tax. So those who are earning more will be paying more tax under the new plan compared to the previous Liberal plan. Anything you want to add, Dave?
I think a common question that we get from our clients is, why am I paying more tax this year? Or why is my refund lower? And I think it depends on a whole range of different factors, but one of them is definitely all these legislative changes. So it's really important that, we stay on top of all these changes so we can properly communicate and articulate that to our clients. And ultimately, these are the things that we can't really control because it's up to the government. But there are things that we can control in limiting our tax liability, implementing certain tax strategies, salary sacrifice, things like this. So if you do want help or any specific tax advice on how you can reduce your tax liability, reach out to us. Yeah, that's it.
And the other thing I just want to mention as well, so obviously these tax changes are going to be rushed in to law by the 1st of July, if they do happen. So also expect that there's going to be a bit of delay flowing onto this with your tax return and with tax agents as well, because all these new rules are very new and everyone's going to be asking the same questions about why am I getting less or more? So it's going to slow down the process as well. So just be mindful of that at tax time. Alrighty, no dramas. Well, that's it from me. We'll hope to speak to you soon.
Yeah.